Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to my podcast, Ask Me Anything. I've gone through plenty of ups and downs in my life and have learned a lot along the way. But now that I've got a midlife crisis reinvention under my belt, or I might be telling you today about how I'm well into middle age and loving it, I know it's never too late to learn something new. That's why on this podcast, I'm going to be talking to Kiwis from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. My guests today are two of our greatest ever female footballers, former football ferns, Dr. Michele Cox and Maia Jackman. Close friends, Michele and Maia have joined together to write a book on a subject I think we all need to talk more about. It's called Murdering Middle Age, Surviving and Thriving in Midlife. Michele and Maia, welcome and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Paula. It's our pleasure.
Thank you for having us. It's awesome to be here.
I am really looking forward to this. Really looking forward to it. Okay, housekeeping first. 2 rules. One is I'm allowed to ask you anything, but you don't have to answer.
Can we run away?
You just go silent.
Okay.
I learned that when I was a politician and you're doing a radio interview. No one likes silence when you're recording something. So
perfect.
Well, that's a good tip.
It's a really good tip. Just go quiet. And
people get uncomfortable.
They get uncomfortable,
yeah.
and they have to, and that's a good one for my second rule, which is this is a no judgy zone, as
amazing.
my daughter and I call it. You know, we'd occasionally have a little gossip. You know, oh, did you hear that so and so is going out with dumped a husband and going out, and then we go, no judgy, no judgy,
no judgment here,
no judgment here. Okay, some icebreaker questions to ease us in. Sort of a favourite book. I mean, I was reading your book. And Michele, you've got a real love of literature and reading.
Absolutely.
Can you pick a favourite?
At the moment, it's American Dirt by Jeanne Cummings.
Yeah.
It's about the journey of Mexican immigrants over the US border, and it is harrowing. And it will change your perception, or I guess the information we get about how bad these people are, but what they have to go through and why they're leaving the country is just... It's jaw-dropping.
Oh, good. I'm going to put it on my list.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to ask you slightly different, Maia, because you've got a daughter, Kaya.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk a bit about your book, which is obviously middle age and the next stage of this podcast. But at what age would you recommend that Kaya reads your book?
Oh, that's a good question. I reckon maybe 30.
Yeah.
So she can get an insight into what she might be heading in towards and getting some tools in place already so that when she does hit middle age that it's a little bit more
I like
breeze,
that.
You know?
But be free and don't worry about it in your 20s.
Yeah, no, just do whatever in your 20s.
Do whatever and just go for it. Do you have a go-to party trick? Oh.
Go-to party
Her
trick.
swinging me around the room.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's a combined party trick, yeah.
That's quite impressive, though.
Nearly hitting my head on
No, that wasn't me swinging you around the room. That was someone else swinging around the room, and I was dead sober and watching this madness going on around me, and someone missed her at the table by this much, and I'm like, I can't keep watching.
Yeah.
So that was someone else's party trick on you. But.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I was the participant in that.
Yeah. Okay. Karaoke song? Come on, you've been in teams together. Didn't you all sing on the bus?
Yeah, badly.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
So, karaoke song. I think We Are the Champions came out a fair bit.
It should.
Yeah.
Michele, favourite sports person?
Federer.
Really?
Yeah, love him. He's just such a good person. He's got a great family attitude. He's a fantastic athlete, and he's good looking.
Yeah. Well, that sounds pretty good to me. Okay, so part 1 of the podcast is where we get to know you both a little bit better, and then, as I say, I want to spend lots of time talking about the book and recommend to everybody that they should have a read, probably when they're 30 plus. But let's start with your friendship. So obviously you got to know each other together in a team. And talk to me about how that sort of bond and that friendship comes about, because you spend a lot of time together, right?
Yeah, I think we got room together often, so that's how we kind of forced together.
Because we studied together. We were the nerds who studied on tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were often doing uni studies at the same time, so they'd kind of chuck us together because we wouldn't disrupt anybody else and anybody else wouldn't disrupt us, because in our downtime then that's what we'd be doing, unfortunately. And then when I finally graduated twice from both of my degrees, I was able to let rip a little.
Yeah, a bit more fun. So what sort of years are we in the team and building that friendship?
That was the 90s, but we met a long time before that because you tell the story because you remember it better.
She doesn't remember. No.
Middle age.
Brain fog. So I was 14, came down to Auckland. Kevin Fallon, who was the 1982 one of the coaches, White's coaches, came up north to look for prospects for his Centre of Excellence for Boys, and that's what it was called, Centre of Excellence for Boys.
Because you were from Northland, weren't you?
Yeah, Kerry. And so we were playing a game and I wiped him out. He'd tell it the other way around that he wiped me out, but that's not how it went.
Yeah, and you've got the microphone, so you just tell it how you want.
I'll tell how I remember it, yeah. And he was like, I want that boy at my Centre of Excellence, because I always say I had short hair, no boobs, still no boobs, and he got told that, it's a girl. And he's like, I don't care, she's good, I want her down at my Centre of Excellence. So I went down for a week to Auckland to a Centre of Excellence, and he was great friends with Michelle's mum, or the whole Cox's family. And Barbara was the coach of Eden at the time. So he said, come and have a look at this girl, see what you think. Her mum's a little worried, she's a Hollywood mum. Tell us what do you think? I know what I think. And she came and had a look and said, yeah, definitely. And Michele came down as well, and she'd just come back from Germany, but doing semi-pro, which was no one had done that before. So she was a trailblazer. And I'd never seen another female footballer of this calibre before, way better than I was. And so I was just in awe of her. She was just having a kick around with Kevin, and I was just like, holy moly. And so that was the first time we met. So we didn't, I don't know, I probably said hi like, oh.
Yeah. That sort of stunned or annoyed.
Yeah, which is funny. And here we are, writing a book 30 years later. Yeah, and then from there we played club together, and their house, the Cox's house, was like a,
Grand Central Station.
Yeah, everyone went there, everyone hung out after, and so you just got to know the family, and then we just made national team together. I think the first time was sort of mid-90s or late 90s, and that's where we sort of formed our friendship.
So you talked a bit about the study. Did you feed off each other then in encouraging and going into that further education while playing sport? Because look, you were top women athletes that in the 90s we didn't recognise as much as we do today. Yay, the rugby!
I know.
It has been such an exciting couple of weeks.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it is so cool to see some of those milestones that we've been seeing of late. But back then, it was different. And then for you both to be doing further education while also playing professional women's sport, it's kind of exceptional. And to be together doing that must have helped.
Well, it was great support because we were probably the only people in the team that were doing that. And it was, we did feed off each other and pushed each other to, it's such a great thing to study while you're playing. It's a great time, and it's a good use of your spare time, if you like, because it prepares you for later life.
Yeah.
And Maia's done 2 degrees. I've even gone to a PhD.
Yeah, so tell us a bit about that. So what have you got a PhD in?
It's health promotion, specialising in physical activity.
Wow.
But my background's actually in psychology.
Yeah.
Because I need to study myself.
And yourself, Maia, what have you got your 2 degrees in?
Sport and exercise science and physiotherapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, I just admire you both because you can get so consumed in the sport, and it's a passion, obviously, and it can be everything, but to be thinking a bit more about the future and using the brain as well as the body, and particularly at that time.
You have to. It doesn't matter what level you're at, you need to have a backup because you can get injured in 2 seconds and your athletic career is finished. So it's always great. And it's also about stimulation.
Yeah.
Not just going to sport and then going home and having a sleep. It's also about keeping your mind stimulated and active.
Well, we're not even in the advice section yet, but that is actually great advice. If you've got young people that are really exceptional at something, always think if there's a backup, particularly if it's, I was privileged to interview Kieran Reid, and he said, we were talking about the transition in careers, and he said, well, at least I knew that mine was going to end, because the body can only go for so long, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really true to be thinking about what is next and using some of that time like that in that study and in that way. Right, so the Women's World Cup is going to be hosted here in 2023. As we say, we've just had the most exciting few weeks of women's rugby in New Zealand. And this week I remember hearing one of them on the radio, and she just went, we were going to training and here were people outside the hotel and with signs and cheering, and they know their names, the young women out there and the girls and guys, and everyone's kind of celebrating it. I mean, what opportunities does sport bring for New Zealand? How do you think we should be capitalising, if you like, on the football next year and how we sort of bring that in?
Obviously, it's a great profile for New Zealand, the country, because this event goes out to over 1 billion TV viewers.
1 billion?
Yeah. So around the world, there's only 3 countries that don't play women's football now. And there are countries like Iran who have 120,000 female players.
Yeah.
The US has 9 million. So it's a massive market now. And the commercial side, all that, all feeds into the excitement that it's just skyrocketed, hasn't it, in terms of interest, awareness, support.
I mean, the rugby's been so amazing, and that semi-final was hair-raising, but that's where the level of women's, interest in women's sport has got into. And I completely understand how they're talking about, oh my God, people know us, they know, they're outside our hotel, because probably not that long ago it was just their family and their dogs and, on the sideline cheering them on. And here it is now, the profile's just getting more and more lifted, that this Rugby World Cup will also lift the profile of women's sport, which will then feed into the FIFA World Cup, Women's World Cup next year. And that is the third biggest event in the world behind the men's World Cup and the Olympics.
Wow.
It's the third biggest event. So I'm not entirely sure New Zealand know what's about to hit them with this World Cup coming here.
We're good at rolling with it once we do.
We'll roll with it, all right, yeah. We just had the draw recently, and I think it's opened a few people's eyes as to what it means, and the people that are going to be coming here. I mean, there are a lot of passionate footballing people around the world that will come to New Zealand. The USA will be in New Zealand, so that will bring a bunch of people here. So the tourism in New Zealand will just pop.
Great.
But it's just the timing to be in women's football or sport is amazing. We were born a little bit too soon, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you got to have us.
So.
You got to have us. You got to have us.
You were the pioneers. You fought the way through and did the good fight. So you
can't have this without
that's where these wrinkles come from.
Yeah. That's right. No, you've earned the dues, and quite frankly, it's part of your success means that we can be having events like this in New Zealand. So good on you.
It's so great for us. For example, when I first started, it was 1973. So I was 5 years old. There was just me and 500 boys, and Maia had the same up north a bit later. I'm not going to lump you in my age category. I've tried to do that.
Our age category. It's perfectly fine.
But now to see how it's grown in terms of like a third of the player base in New Zealand is women and girls, the massive support. Also from the football associations has changed. Like before it was like, we don't want we won't support it because it's just a cost centre basically. It's not something that we will get a return on investment from. And so this has changed completely.
Yeah. Because that's been reasonably controversial and even in more recent times, hasn't it? And it has felt like even this year we've still been having to argue the return on investment and investing in women's sport, and you turn on the odd talkback and here are, the dinosaurs still going, well, if not as many people are watching, then they shouldn't be paid, and that's just the way it goes. And we've proven, I think, just in the last few weeks, with sellout crowds and having to put more seats into Eden Park just so that we could, because we've got more people wanting to go than we've got tickets kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, and you're saying with FIFA and that investment in women's sport? I mean, it has changed, or has it still got a way to go?
No, it's definitely their push, because prior to, I'd say, maybe 2005, you couldn't even see any imagery of women's football. I mean, we had the World Cup, but it wasn't really well supported. But once they got behind it and started supporting with development programs and things like that, and also prize money and preparation money for the World Cup, then all the slow associations, like there was some real resistance, and particularly in the traditional powerhouses of men's sport like England and South America, they just really were slow to get on board. And whereas Australia, for example, Japan, and Germany was absolute world leader. Like when I played there, this was in 1988, so we played in a cup final, which was a double header with the men's cup final. So we played in front of 70,000 people back in 1988. So they were world leaders in that, providing equal opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to hear. Good to hear. How was your mum, Michele? I wanted to ask about her because you were the first mother and daughter to take the field together, weren't you? And I mean, you sort of touched on it, Maia, as this family that was so sports orientated. It must have been awesome, wasn't it?
And the most amazing thing is so we were the first in the world to do that. And the first official game we played together was against USA, and we beat them unexpectedly because they had all their superstars like Maia and Michele Akers-Stahl, and little old New Zealand went out and smashed them. Well, not really smashed them. We defended the whole game actually, but it caused a review of US women's football. And since then, they've just gone on to be the absolute legends in the game. So that's a real honour for us to have shared that. But my sister played for New Zealand. My dad coached New Zealand. So it was a real family effort. But we were never forced to play football. Like I played everything else as well.
Yeah.
And it was just that we loved that. And in the social aspect that Maia referred to, we had players staying at our house. We all hung out, and that was really important bonding for all of us.
Yeah.
And we'll be all friends for life. No matter how long. Like I didn't see Maia nearly for 10 years when I was in Switzerland, but it's just the same.
Yeah.
It's just the same now.
Yeah.
So...
And you're living here in Auckland?
Yes,
right?
I am. Yep.
Yeah, with your partner and that gorgeous
and
daughter?
my wee girl.
Yeah.
So I moved. My whole family moved.
Oh, really?
For my sport.
Yeah.
So Barbara said, if Maia wants to get better at football, she needs to be in Auckland, because there were no girls' teams up north, and you couldn't play with boys once you hit 16. That was it. So there was that ceiling up there. So my mum and dad went, okay, we'll move. I said to Mum the other day, why didn't you send me to boarding school? She's like, I didn't want to be away from you. I wanted to be around you and support you and be there all the time, which she really was. I'm getting a bit emotional.
Yeah, as you should be. I am.
Yeah, so they...
Cool.
So they moved, they uplifted, moved. Mum had to get all sorts of different jobs. She was a obstetric nurse originally, but she had to be a cleaner. She had to do all these different things before she could get back into that vocation. So it was a really big change for them. And I was 15, did not... I wasn't grateful at that time. I was a 15-year-old.
Yep.
I just wanted to be with my mates up north and do my thing and play a bit of sport. So it was a really pivotal moment in my life, which I didn't notice at the time, But every day I've been grateful since. The light bulb moment where I went, oh, hang on a minute. I'm here because my family was so supportive. So yeah. And so I've been in Auckland ever since.
Oh, really special.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
In my head, I was thinking, I was going to say, wow, what an amazing sacrifice. And I stopped myself because actually I bet from your mum and dad's perspective, it wasn't a sacrifice. It was an absolute joy to see the 15-year-old you and to be part of, your success and watch you grow. So that's exciting and something that we as parents, it's the buzz of it.
Yeah. I remember wrapping up my MNZM that I'd been awarded the Order of Merit at Christmas time. I wrapped it up and I told Mum I'd been nominated every week. She's like, do you know yet? And I did, but I didn't want to tell her. And I got it framed, the letter, and I wrapped it up and I gave it to her. And then I videoed her. Her response was she just burst into tears and just kept saying it's all worth it, And then she's like, I remember when you were a baby and we went and got you, because I was adopted. They're my adopted parents. And she said, we went and got you and you just looked like you had been through the ringer. Like, hadn't looked after you. And she's like, and then here you are and it's all worth it. And she was bawling and I was crying. And it was a cool moment to sort of be able to kind of give them that. You know, everything I do, I always attribute to them, but I guess it was something tangible. Yeah.
Okay, up next, I have to get to the book because we're already talking about it and we're jumping all over the place because it is such an important topic. Midlife and all the delight and some of the challenges that it brings. Stay with us. So middle age is going to happen to all of us, right? Some of us it's already happened to, but as women it does come with its extra challenges. You two have tackled this stage head on in your book. It's called Murdering Middle Age, Surviving and Thriving in Midlife. And that's what we're going to focus on for our advice today. So Maia, are middle-aged women invisible?
Some of them would say that's how they feel. And usually it's sort of early 50s. Is that generally came out where they feel like people bypass them or look beyond them now, or, I used to be good looking, blah, 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 and now I don't really feel like anyone's looking at me, or...
Your voice, sometimes your voice doesn't quite feel like it's being heard, you just...
Well, we live in a really young culture as well, so, you go to Italy and older women are really, revered and their wisdom's really revered, but in a Western culture, it's a little different, and it's such a young culture that's where women are feeling a little bit missed.
And is that, I think, sort of also part of it is how we talk about menopause and how we don't talk about menopause. Yeah. Which is probably, and then when it is talked about, it's so often talked about in a derogatory manner that it's embarrassing, and you kind of it's like, well, if you admit to it, oh well, you're that woman that's going a bit funny, and no, we just all better keep out of your way, and
you're a Karen.
Yeah, you're a Karen, and and all of that, and like we can laugh at ourselves, but sometimes I just sort of sit there and I just think, well, no wonder women in middle age are kind of having to, they're going through physical adjustments, and then there is the, you're sort of wondering what's going on with you and how to tackle it all and the hormone differences, and then there's kind of society's sort of thing on how they look at women going through menopause or middle age as well.
The societal thing is big, the stigma around it, and it's getting better because people are talking about it now. But the problem is I guess that social judgment often makes people who need help not speak out. I mean, I know I was in that situation where I've been a high achiever all my life, but suddenly I can't, all these things are happening and I don't understand what's going on, and I didn't put my hand up for help for a long time.
Yeah.
But if you just understand, like Paula D gives amazing advice on how to deal with them, why your mind is going in a certain way when actually this is a really normal stage of life. Like, it's your hormones are changing like they do in pregnancy and in puberty, yet those two phases are acceptable, whereas this phase, which is just a different phase, has stigma around it, which is insane. So if you understand that and can deal with that, then it's a lot easier to face, I think.
And there's great advice in the book as well, particularly for women going through menopause, as to what some of the options are. And there is, certainly talk to your GP, and as we all know, there's HRT and there's different things there. But Maia, you also talk quite a bit about how to look after ourselves and exercise and health, and you've got women in there giving dietary advice. And so touch a little bit on that and how important it is.
Yeah, it's it's super important in all parts of our different ages, but especially in middle age, where for women there's a lot of changes going on hormonally, and exercise, sleep and eating can sort of negate those things that are happening in your body. So making sure you're getting more protein in your diet is a really big one for women, because estrogen is what keeps our muscles strong and keeps our bones healthy, and so that starts to diminish. But if you're exercising, adding more protein, then that's an external thing that you can control. You can't control what's happening really with your hormones unless you're doing replacement therapy, which is, by the way, had the worst stigma ever by research ages ago, and so people have been really scared to even look at that option. But now it's a lot of women have found out that it's a great option. And I mean, the whole thing around it might give you breast cancer, blah, 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 was a really bad. The researchers came out later and apologised. So there was fear around it, and I think that it's getting less and less. But yeah, other things you can control is making sure you're having a whole food diet, not so much processed stuff, because that will really ramp up your hormonal stuff as well. Sleep is super, super important.
Well, let's talk about sleep. I have always been the best sleeper in the world, right? Even in my most stressed, in the middle of my big parliamentary career, I'd go to sleep and I would wake up at whatever time I had to wake up, but I would sleep solidly, no more. And I'm less stressed now than I've ever been. Yeah. I can go to sleep easily enough, but I'm up for 2 or 3 hours pretty much 5 nights a week. By the way, if that's happening to you, you can just listen to this podcast and backtrack and listen to the other ones, because that's what I do now is I just put my plugs in and I listen to podcasts for about 2 hours in the night and then I have to, go and listen to them again, so that I can catch up. But sleep, definitely, I've put it down to middle age. I've just, because I can't think why else. Yeah. Sleep has just changed so dramatically for me.
Yeah, well, they say that the hormonal changes people or women feel like it's happening around our ovaries and all that type of stuff, but it affects your brain way more than it affects your sexual organs. So the brain fog, all that type of stuff, that's hormonally, that's because of your hormones. And your drop in estrogen and progesterone and all that type of stuff affects your sleeping. So making sure that there's some really good tart cherry juice that you can have before bed, which boosts your melatonin, because your melatonin's also doing weird things and cortisol's doing weird things alongside estrogen and progesterone. So a lot of hormonal stuff that's happening that you can try and negate with different little tips in the book, things to eat, things to drink, things to do before bedtime, can help negate those wake-ups that you're getting. What did one of the women in the book say? It was the something hour, and her husband would wake her up and she's like, not now. No, I can never get back to sleep now. So now they sleep in different rooms. But she's like, I mean, why not? Because I'm getting better sleep now than ever. Because, her husband would wake her up and then she'd be awake for ages, and it would be the smallest thing. I can't remember. She called it the something hour, but it was really funny. But it is. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah. So you talked to 26 women for the book, and they all seem to have it really together. And I know some of them, and you just they're awe-inspiring, right? Kick-ass woman, yourselves included, but have gone through different stages and have struggled at different times, and are really nice and open about it in a way that was really nice and honesty. Is that what kind of drove you guys to write it and to interview them and be part of it?
Yeah, I think the key message we wanted to get across is that, no matter how amazing people look on the outside, they're all facing challenges, and we want people to know that they're not alone. It's not just them, but we've all got challenges. They're all different. Like Maia and I have completely different challenges, but we have challenges. And yet I think the belief we have that we'll get through that's really important. So that is one of the key things we wanted to get across.
And what I took out of it as well is that it's okay to not be okay, and to talk to someone about that. Yeah. And I know sometimes people go, are you happy? And it's like, you're not really today. Yeah. And not even really looking for it today. Let's just get through this one and start again tomorrow. Or perhaps I need that walk on the beach at Piha. Good little message for myself. But also don't beat yourself up that you're not the chirpy little,
I saw a really cool thing I think it was on YouTube, and it said, some days are effed, but just go home and sleep because they can't be un-effed.
Yeah.
And that's right. Sometimes you're just going to have a bad day, but if that's gonna, it's gonna.
And isn't that part of being middle-aged is that we have been through a lot of life, to get where we are. Like everyone, as I kind of say in my intro, deal with life's ups and downs. And you do get to that point where you just go, you know what, this one's not quite so good, but it'll pass.
Yeah. That's the important thing.
And I think, and I think those are the things of middle age is you have that wisdom, you have that knowledge, you've had a life where some really bad stuff has happened, but you are here still and you've gotten through it. So this is a little different. Maybe it's still a challenge, but you know that you will get through. But also, I think what's really important is to have a community of people that you can talk to and connection. Like connection's super important, I reckon, to be able to talk about some of the stuff that you're going through and like-minded people and then they'll say something, you're like, oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then you just don't feel like you're really alone because a lot of people do feel alone and can't see beyond that, and then they, withdraw even more. So,
well, since I've been talking openly about menopause, younger friends, more in their sort of early 40s, and a number of them have said to me, thank God you talked because now I understand and I think I am perimenopausal, and so I'm able to talk to my GP about it. If you hadn't talked about it like that, I wouldn't have known. And so I think that message in your book is just so strong, and that everyone should have a read because it's actually empowering and it's positive. Yeah. And that equally we do need to talk about it because I didn't know the symptoms. I know that sounds, and I said to my mum, why didn't you tell me? And she said, because I had a hysterectomy when you were 13. I was like, yeah, okay, you didn't have the hormones going everywhere.
But then they didn't know either.
No.
And society was telling them they were mental or hysterical or all that type of stuff. So it's like, you don't want to become your mother's menopause, but half the time they didn't know either, so they couldn't impart that knowledge onto you. So I know now that I can impart this onto my own daughter, but also my friends. I work with younger people in their 20s, and I've just been chatting about it to them because I've been writing this book, and they're like, what? I didn't know that happened. Oh my God. Okay, now I understand my mum.
Yeah.
So some of them understand their mums more because I've been ranting on about middle age and what it can do to you. And so just educating the younger generation as well. And that's why I said, some 30s should be reading it and getting that knowledge now.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't realise is that once you hit menopause, so you've been through perimenopause, but menopause the symptoms can last up to 10 years. Yeah. So I thought, okay, I've been through menopause, the final point, but you're still in it and you don't realise that, okay, that might be related to that. So those are things that you just need to be educated on.
Yeah. And know that the symptoms, I mean, for me, when I look back, I go, wow, I was going through menopause, but I didn't know it at the time because of the contraception I was using. I didn't have periods, so it's not like my period stopped because that is usually the way that we know. And so I seriously thought I was having a breakdown. I mean, I was Deputy Prime Minister at the time, an incredibly stressful job, in that campaign, and I put on weight and I just genuinely thought I was not coping with the stress. And of course I couldn't show it because, in that job, no weakness, right? And now I look back and I go, my God, if I'd only reached out earlier for help.
Yeah.
I seriously went home and was worried about myself, and my family were as well.
And that's what happens with a lot of women. They resign from their jobs because they think they can't cope anymore. And that's one of the, then you have financial worries and all sorts of things that follow on from that.
So if you could impart one piece of advice from the book, it's so hard to pick one, isn't it, that we should be telling people that are listening, is there something that really stands out for each of you?
Yeah, I think we just touched on it though. Like if you feel like things are really overwhelming, you're in that stage of life where you could be peri or menopausal, you need to talk or seek some help because so many people don't. And like you said, you thought you were going to have a mental breakdown or a lot of women feel very depressed, but that's they're not depressed. There's hormonal stuff happening. I think it's just knowing that if you've hit a really rough part and it carries on, you definitely need to go and reach out. Yeah, good advice.
And also train your mind to listen to the positives rather than the negatives and know that your brain is okay. You're not going crazy. You're going to get through this.
Yeah. And there is some really good things about middle age.
I was going to ask you, about that?
I like a little segment where you can ask me anything. So let's leap into it then. You can ask me anything. What would you like to ask?
What were your challenges in middle age? You've just mentioned some of them. And what are you loving about being middle-aged?
Okay, well, leap to the loving. I love, like, I had this 20-something arrogant little the other day speak to me in a derogatory way, and, you know, you just that confidence of your age and all that sort of thing. I turned around and I said, oh, for goodness sakes, I've got shoes older than you. You know, if I gave a damn about your opinion, you know, and just literally laughed and walked on. Yeah, I just genuinely didn't care. And I suppose that just comes with a bit of life experience. And it's like, and so I kind of love that, and I love some of those role models we see now, like the Helen Mirrens and the Dame Judi Dench's, and you know, like I know they're not, you don't know them personally, but you just look at them and here's these women that are their age, and they're celebrating the wrinkles, and we can still look good and feel good and have fun, and there is a certain, you can just have that certain level of confidence. For me, definitely the harder parts were the sleeping, the physical aspects of it, you know, and then knowing what I could do to counter that and look after myself, you know, reduce some of the stress, work out a bit more as to how I get a bit more balance in my life and that sort of thing. So, but no, there's a lot of good things about it. I don't need to colour my hair anymore. This is it. It's grey.
Saving money.
It's saving me money. It's saving me time. Embraced. Great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So that's all good. Okay, to finish up, we have a segment called Zip It Sweetie. We all get to have a little vent. I kind of had my vent. My Zip It Sweetie was to the little twerp that thought that he could speak to me. You know, as if I was nothing.
Yeah.
And as if I didn't know anything. And it's like, you know what? Just don't even bother. But there is a wonderful, which I'm not going to be able to quote it well, which is a Helen Mirren one, which kind of says something along the lines of, why would I waste my breath arguing with you when you probably don't even have the intelligence to enter into a debate? So, ladies, is this something you would like to say Zip It Sweetie to?
Oh, one thing that bothered me this week is that I had to scroll for a long time to find anything about the semi-final of the Black Ferns, so it took me a while to get there the day after that they won by 1 point. It should be front and headline, so I was a little bit annoyed about that. I had to scroll for so long on my phone.
Fair call.
Yeah, so I was like, it should be, I mean, they may have done it the night before, but it stood, you know, it should still be the next day.
If it had been the boys,
it would still be. Well, I
there.
had to go through the boys against Wales to get to the girls against France, so I was a little bit annoyed about that.
Yep, fair enough. Michele, anything?
I saw in the lifestyle section of the news this morning that we're apparently trending back towards heroin chic. So models, for example, role models who look like they've been on heroin. I think that is absolutely disgraceful of the fashion industry, because we've worked hard to get towards these healthy role models who are muscular and healthy and fit, and
and
they're
different
wanting
bodies.
Girls with rings under their eyes and gaunt and their hip bones showing. I think that's disgraceful.
Yeah, let's fight back against that.
Yeah. So, that was in the news this morning and that really irked me.
Yeah. No, that's not on. We don't like that. Good vent. Very good vent. I like that. Thank you so much, Michele and Maia, for sharing your very personal experiences and stories with us today for this fabulous book. We're going to have to get a photo because I love a bit of promo. If you want to hear more, go and read it. It's called Murdering Middle Age, Surviving and Thriving Midlife. It's available in bookstores now. Go and look in the wellness section, but the bookstores should have it out the front, but wellness is where it's at. I think it's so important to have these conversations, and so thank you for doing that for us. And that's a wrap for another episode of Ask Me Anything. You can get in touch with me by emailing paula.bennett@nzherald.co.nz. Please feel free to send me through your questions for the podcast or any thoughts you have. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram or LinkedIn. Make sure you follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also read my weekly column in the Herald on Sunday. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.